Hello everyone, you have come to Tata Comic Preview channel. Let read together. Have fun. The voice was piercing and loud, it resounded through the 12 peaks with unusual clarity. Only an elite from the inner palace would be able to pull off such a powerful sound technique. The elders and disciples of the 12 sects of Cloud Mountain assembled swiftly. Nie Qingyun hurried out from the hall and scanned his surroundings before he said, "Go and fetch Senior Liu, quick. Senior Liu has already been notified. He'll arrive shortly." Good. Nie Qingyun tidied his clothes and said sternly, "Come with me to welcome the emperor." The elders and the core disciples bowed in unison. Understood. They flew toward the cloud platform. After they descended on the platform, they spread out. The huge chariot was still hovering above the cloud platform. At this moment, Nie Qingyun led the others and greeted loudly, "Nie Qingyun welcomes His Majesty." Nie Qingyun did not expect the emperor to personally visit. In truth, he did not like to deal with the palace. Over the years, the palace had tried to extend its hand to Cloud Mountain through the Flying Star House. Recently, they had almost annihilated Cloud Mountain. In the chariot, the young emperor dressed in dragon robes sauntered to the edge of the flying chariot with his hands on his back and looked down on Cloud Mountain. "Is this Cloud Mountain?" A middle-aged man behind the young emperor said with a smile, "Your Majesty, this is Cloud Mountain." The young emperor, Li Yunzheng, nodded and said, "If you didn't tell me, I wouldn't have dared to believe that this is a part of my land." The person who accompanied Li Yunzheng was Wang Shizhong from the Wang family, one of Great Tang's great families. Wang Shizhong held a high position and had many cronies in the royal court. He also possessed an unfathomable cultivation base. Over the past millennium, the Wang family became one of the great families in Great Tang. Even the former emperor did not dare to act rashly against the Wang family, let alone Li Yunzheng, who had no supporters. For someone like him, how could he miss the implications of Li Yunzheng's words? He waved his hand, said, "Every land under the heavens belongs to you, Your Majesty. There is no need to be modest. Your Majesty, Nie Qingyun awaits." Several men appeared. They were capable subordinates of the Wang family. The several thousand cultivators at the sides of the huge chariot. Half of them were from the Sky Martial Court and the other half were from the palace. It was a grand lineup. Li Yunzheng glanced at Nie Qingyun, who was bowing on the cloud platform, and said, "Rise." Nie Qingyun and the others straightened their backs and looked at the sky. At this moment, Eunuch Gao, who was next to Li Yunzheng, said, "Your Majesty, I'll escort you." He supported Li Yunzheng's arms and brought him down in a slow descent. Wang Shizhong turned to look back. A girl poked her head out. "Father, this is fun." "Shu, behave yourself." The girl who was dressed up as a man was Wang Shu, Wang Shizhong's daughter. "I get it. It's just Cloud Mountain anyway. You'll be able to deal with everything easily," Wang Shu said dismissively. "These are some extraordinary circumstances. That old fiend, Yuchen Shu, doesn't want to come and wants me to deal with this. In my opinion, nothing good is going to come out of this. When we're down there, you better not cause any trouble for me." Wang Shizhong sternly said. Don't worry. I won't." Neigh. At this moment, a horse's neigh rang from the distance. Wang Shu, who was standing in the flying chariot, turned to look in the direction of the sound and immediately saw a handsome horse flying here from one of the peaks. The horse was too eye-catching with its white coat, red mane, and golden eyes. She said excitedly, "Father. My horse. That's my horse." The huge chariot provided a wonderful vantage point. They could see the entirety of the 12 mountain peaks. Wang Shizhong had a profound cultivation base, so it was easy for him to see the unique horse. He said in confusion, "Your horse?" Wang Shu said, "Father, you don't know this, but Wang Tua and the others went to the beach and found a wild horse. They went through many troubles before they finally captured it and gave it to me." "Why is it here then?" Wang Shizhong frowned. Wang Shu lowered her head and said sheepishly, "I wanted to bring it out for a ride, but who knew that this livestock wasn't completely tamed, and it ran away." You. Wang Shizhong tapped her head lightly. Father, it's a rare breed. You must help me get it back. Father. Wang Shu stepped forward and pulled on Wang Shizhong's arm as she spoke coquettishly. I've spoiled you too much. Behave yourself. We're in His Majesty's presence today. Otherwise, I'll ground you for 3 months. I know. Then, Wang Shizhong brought his daughter, whom he trusted the most in the Wang family, to the cloud platform. They landed behind Li Yunzheng. Soon after, roughly 300 cultivators descended on the cloud platform as well. Li Yunzheng looked at Nie Qingyun and politely asked, Are you the sect master of Cloud Mountain, Nie Qingyun? Nie Qingyun replied, Yes, I'm Nie Qingyun, the master of the 12 sects of Cloud Mountain. Next to Li Yunzheng, eunuch Guy chuckled and said, Nie Qingyun, are you the only one who's here to welcome His Majesty? Nie Qingyun turned to look and discovered the members of the 9th temple were not here. Meanwhile, the members of the Thousand Willow Monastery were late and had just arrived. When Xia Chengxiu and Tian Buji arrived on the cloud platform, they did not greet the emperor. Instead, they looked at the peak where Lu Zhou was at. Eunuch Gao said sternly in a tone laden with criticism, Well? Aren't you going to greet His Majesty? Xia Chengxiu, Tian Buji, Wu Wu, and Ji Fengxing were taken aback. However, Li Yunzheng frowned and said, You don't have to get so worked up about such a trivial matter. He had always hated how eunuch Gao took matters into his own hands, especially on an occasion such as this. Eunuch Gao had gradually become a thorn in his flesh over the years. However, he was powerless to free himself from the fate of being a puppet. Wang Shizhong stepped forward and said loudly, I disagree, Your Majesty. The rulers and the common folk have their own places. We can't do away with etiquette. Li Yunzheng looked at Wang Shizhong and remained silent. Upon hearing these words, Nie Qingyun said, Senior Lu will be here soon. Monastery Master Xia is waiting for Senior Lu. They'll offer their greetings later. Please forgive us, Your Majesty. Li Yunzheng nodded. There's no need to make mountains out of molehills. I'm not that petty. Wang Shizhong looked at Xia Chengxiu and the others as he said, Aren't you going to thank His Majesty? Li Yunzheng. Nie Qingyun understood the emperor's predicament. He hastily changed the subject. What brings you here, Your Majesty? However, before Li Yunzheng could reply, Wang Shizhong said, You know why, Sect Master Nie. Why would you ask when you already know the answer to the question? Nie Qingyun did not beat around the bush. He said, For the Sky Martial Court disciples? Precisely. Eunuch Gao narrowed his eyes and said, Sect Master Nie, I heard that the Sky Martial Court's Mo Bian visited you, but he was chased away. What are you trying to do? Are you trying to revolt? Nie Qingyun knew that it would come to this. He hastily said, Kindly have a seat. Since everyone's here, let's make things clear on the cloud platform. Although I'm the master of Cloud Mountain, I don't call the shots. You don't call the shots here? Eunuch Gao frowned. Nie Qingyun would have loved to call the shots. The funny thing was even a 10-leaf cultivator had to bend their knees to Yizhen. If this were in the past, he would be flexible and adjust his attitude according to the people he spoke to. However, recent events had changed his mind. There were too many uncertainties in the world. When the Flying Star House's Yizhen tried to annihilate Cloud Mountain, the path Nie Qingyun had already been set. At this point, he no longer had a choice but to continue on the path that had been set before him. With this thought in mind, Nie Qingyun said, Forgive me for being blunt, but I'm not from the royal court. I won't assume another person's responsibilities. This isn't about etiquette or revolting. Senior Lu has said that Yu Qinshu should personally visit if he wants to free the Sky Martial Court disciples. Eunuch Gao, who was standing next to Li Yunzheng, was displeased when he heard this. He was about to reprimand Nie Qingyun for being discourteous when Li Yunzheng raised his hand. Smack! A loud and crisp sound when Li Yunzheng's hand struck Eunuch Gao's face. Everyone was taken aback. Eunuch Gao was clearly stunned by the slap. The flames of fury in his heart were instantly swept away by Li Yunzheng's slap. It felt as though someone had just poured a bucket of ice-cold water on him. Nevertheless, in just a brief moment, the flames of fury that had just been put out in his heart roared back to life. Li Yunzheng asked, "Am I the emperor, or are you the emperor?" Eunuch Gao bowed immediately. "Of course, it's you, your majesty. I came here with the intention to have a peaceful discussion, not to look for trouble. Are you trying to stir up trouble for me with your attitude?" Li Yunzheng said sternly. Although Li Yunzheng was only a puppet emperor, he was well-read and understood profound theories. He was not a fool. Even Wang Shizhong and Eunuch Gao together were not a match for him in regard to eloquence. Meanwhile, Wang Shizhong only felt that the emperor was slightly too full of youthful vigor. What good would acting on a whim do? After a moment, Wang Shizhong finally said, "Your Majesty is right. Eunuch Gao, as an official, you should keep quiet once His Majesty has spoken. You'd be in trouble if His Majesty decides to charge you with revolting." Eunuch Gao nodded. "You're right, Lord Wang. I'll keep that in mind." "Forgive me, Your Majesty." Li Yunzheng scoffed. He was in a much better mood since he managed to vent his dissatisfaction with that slap. There was nothing wrong with a master hitting his servants. Despite being a puppet emperor, Li Yunzheng knew Eunuch Gao would not dare to disregard the hierarchy in public. Eunuch Gao had no choice but to swallow his resentment. Li Yunzheng looked at Nie Qingyun and said, "It's my first time on Cloud Mountain. The scenery looks wonderful. Would you care to show me around, Sect Master Nie?" Nie Qingyun was unaware that Lu Zhou was late because Lu Zhou was currently observing Ji Liang. Despite how much he wanted to wait for Lu Zhou's arrival, he knew he could not possibly refuse the emperor. Hence, he said, "Of course." As they walked east, Nie Qingyun explained, "Your Majesty, from the east to the west, there are 12 peaks along the mountain range." Wang Shizhong wore an expression of disapproval on his face as Nie Qingyun spoke. He did not seem to be paying attention to Nie Qingyun. Instead, he was looking at the peak where Ji Liang had appeared. He could not help but feel puzzled. It was difficult to tame a wild horse. Although his daughter's cultivation base was only average, he had many elites in his mansion. He even had elite horse tamers in his mansion. What was so special about this horse? Why was it so difficult to tame? Time continued to pass as Li Yunzheng and Nie Qingyun continued chatting. When Wang Shizhong felt it was nearly time, he stepped forward and said, "Your Majesty, we should get down to business." Li Yunzheng and Nie Qingyun turned to look at Wang Shizhong. A complicated expression appeared on Li Yunzheng's face as he said, "I know what I'm doing." Nevertheless, everyone began to take their seats in the center of the cloud platform. After everyone was seated, Wang Shizhong was the first to speak. "Sect Master Nie, His Majesty has shown great sincerity by personally visiting Cloud Mountain. Please release the Sky Martial Court disciples right now." Nie Qingyun completely disregarded Wang Shizhong. Instead, he looked at Li Yunzheng and said, "Your Majesty, it's not that I'm unwilling to release the Sky Martial Court disciples, but they colluded with the Flying Star House to annihilate Cloud Mountain. This is a conflict between the sects in the cultivation world and has nothing to do with the royal palace. Most importantly, I don't have the authority to make the decisions regarding this matter." "So, Senior Lu has the authority?" Wang Shizhong asked. "That's right," Nie Qingyun answered honestly. "I've heard rumors about Senior Lu. He killed Yi Zhen and Chen Tiandu. Indeed, he's a remarkable person. However, it's difficult to make peace once someone has turned into your enemy. His Majesty decided to visit because he wishes to solve this problem. Moreover, Yu Qinshu is merely the master of the Sky Martial Court Master, after all. He's been ill lately and couldn't come. Nevertheless, in terms of status and prestige, His Majesty is superior to Yu Qinshu. Isn't this show of sincerity enough?" Wang Shizhong said. Nie Qingyun nodded slightly. Wang Shizhong had a point. It did not matter if Li Yunzheng was only a puppet emperor. Why isn't Senior Lu here yet? Nie Qingyun could not help but wonder again as he looked at Xie Chongqiu and the others who were still waiting for Lu Zhou's arrival. Li Yunzheng only sighed, he did not say anything. Nie Qingyun asked, why are you sighing, Your Majesty? Li Yunjing said lightly, I'm just lamenting to myself. Cloud Mountain has such majestic sceneries, it made me wonder how many more majestic places there are in Great Tang. Yet, as the Emperor, I don't even have the chance to see all these places. It's just a lie when everyone says the land under the heavens belongs to me. Naturally, Wang Shizhong heard the implications in Li Yunjing's words. He said with a smile, Your Majesty, you're still young. Moreover, there are many things in life that are out of our control. There was a slight edge to his voice when he spoke. Based on the hidden barbs in his words, he was clearly not as easily bullied like Eunuch Gao. Li Yunjing sighed before he replied, I understand. However, the adults you spoke about were once young as well. How many of them are like me? Was my father like me when he was young as well? You have a point, Your Majesty, Wang Shizhong said expressionlessly. Then, he bowed and cupped his fists together before he said, Please do something for the 2,000 Sky Marshal Court disciples, Your Majesty. Li Yunjing sighed. At this moment. Nay. Ji Liang's neigh rang in everyone's ears. Wang Shizhong leaped up in excitement. Father, my horse. I see it. My horse. Wang Shizhong glared at Wang Shu to silence her. Upon seeing the look on her father's face, Wang Shu fell silent. Sect Master Nye, how did this horse come to Cloud Mountain? Wang Shizhong asked. Nye Qingyun heard Ji Liang as well. He replied with a smile, to tell you the truth, Senior Lu lives on that peak. As for the horse, I've never seen it before. If you're interested, you can ask Senior Lu when he arrives. Thank you. Wang Shizhong cupped his fists. At this moment, Xia Chengxiu finally saw Lu Zhou, Yu Zhenghai, Yu Shangrong, Little Yuan, and Kong flying toward them. In a show of respect, Nye Qingyun had vacated the east-facing peak, which was also the first peak. He and his 3 disciples took up one peak. Cloud Mountain was huge, and space was aplenty. They did not mind. When Lu Zhou and his disciples were slowly descending on the cloud platform, the few thousand Cloud Mountain disciples bowed in unison. Senior Lu. When Li Yunjing looked over, he frowned slightly. Why does the old man look so familiar? The more he looked at the old man, the more familiar the old man became. Once Lu Zhou landed, Xia Chengxiu and the others bowed. Senior Lu. Lu Zhou stroked his beard and nodded in response. He looked at the royal chariot in the air before he walked to the center of the cloud platform. The crowd parted and made way for Lu Zhou. Whether it was the people from the palace or the Sky Marshal Court, no one stopped him. At this moment, realization finally dawned on Li Yunjing. He was shocked. If it were not for his identity and his habit of hiding his emotions, he would have leaped to his feet to greet Lu Zhou. As he forced himself to remain calm, he wondered inwardly, is this what they call fate? When Lu Zhou arrived in front of everyone, he said, Li Yunjing, I knew you'd come. Wang Shizhong, Wang Shu, the soldiers of the palace, and the Sky Marshal Court disciples frowned. Is this the way to speak to the emperor? Is he trying to offend the emperor? Wang Shu was about to lose her temper, but her father was quick to hold back. Wang Shizhong glared at his daughter again before she sat down. Eunuch Gao and Wang Shizhong had more experience than the young Wang Shu, after all, they knew how to hide their emotions. Moreover, at the end of the day, it was the emperor who should feel offended, not them. Wang Shizhong even thought this was a good opportunity to teach and show the young emperor how sinister men could be. Li Yunjing cupped his fists awkwardly before he said, Old mister. Everyone was rendered speechless by Li Yunjing's tone, bearing, and expression. Was the young emperor not filled with youthful vigor earlier? Didn't he have a quick temper? Why is he so meek in front of this old man?